Push him
Get
in.
out.
Get
First
him
one
out.
to
Yeah.
Yo, welcome to.
The Storyworks podcast.
Thank you, you saved me. I was really choking there for a second. I didn't know where to go. I had desperation in my eyes.
We're here. It's the Storyworks podcast, starring me, Andrew Hall,
And me, Zac Gosen.
featuring Davis Woodring in the corner.
Yo, what up, you hungover bitch?
He said, "I got drunk last night." Well.
neglects his story.
All right, so we are on our second October episode out of 4, I believe we're going to have.
Episode 13. There's actually 5. Halloween is on a Monday.
Ooh,
Woo!
We're gonna have a Halloween episode yet? We gotta do something special.
Damn, I didn't realize that. We got 5 spooky episodes for this
5.
month. That's awesome.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Beautiful. All right, so today we're going to do a little mix in the pot. We're going to talk about a pretty fucking sick game series that has been coming out. The first installment came out in 2015. We're talking about the Dark Pictures Anthology, as well as a couple other separate games they released.
Yeah,
outside
all
of
made
that
by
title.
Supermassive Games.
Yes, Supermassive Games is the developer. And then next, we're going to head over to a conversation about the new horror film that just came out recently, Barbarian.
What an insane movie. That's all I'm going to say right now.
Dude,
Spoilers incoming.
there will be spoilers on Barbarian. I mean, we'll try to give you a little bit of a
Yeah.
spoiler-free context, but wow.
It's going to be tough.
It's one of those movies where it's really hard not to spoil things
Yeah.
because, we'll talk about it. We'll get into it.
For sure. But
but-
first, we're going to start talking about the Dark Picture Anthology series.
Yes, and where it all started. So their first game is a game that came out in 2015 called Until Dawn.
Yeah.
It was the first game that kind of started this structure that they're now kind of following.
Like that, it was like a narrative kind of interactive movie almost. You kind
Right.
of play through the cutscenes and stuff. Your choices matter.
You've brought these games to my attention. I knew about Until Dawn at least,
Mm-hmm.
and I really thought it was a cool concept, and it was always kind of in the back of my head,
Yeah.
but I never jumped on it.
It's definitely like cool, but it's almost like, because when I first heard about it and I saw stuff for it, I was like, that's almost like too campy for me.
Until Dawn, like were
Yeah.
you seeing cutscenes
Yeah,
of it
yeah,
and stuff?
yeah. But then I like played it, and it's cool, man. The
Yeah.
story is neat. I mean, it's your traditional kind of like horror story. Like they
Right.
give you like a group of like young adults in the middle of the woods,
Mhm.
and you don't really like much of them.
That's always a good way to start, you know.
But you can,
It's a
but you
solid way
play
to
as
start.
them, so you can kind of like change how they are.
Right.
You know what I mean? Kind of change some of their traits.
Did you see how Netflix did that with Black Mirror, the Bandersnatch? How it was like.
Yeah, Netflix
I
did that with
still
the.
haven't seen an
It's
episode of Black Mirror.
interesting. It's been so long because it came out years ago, but it's like it was interesting from what I remember. I can't
Yeah.
remember anything about it.
Oh, that's definitely like a really cool concept.
Yeah, I think it was like, but it was one of those where it's more like DVD oriented, where it was like scene and then it just branched on.
Yeah.
It's like not quick time.
No, I got
Right.
you. I got you.
Right. So yeah, my kids actually, they have a decent amount of those on Netflix now. My kids, my kids love to play. Like there's a Minecraft
Yeah, the Minecraft
Story
story
mode
mode.
that they
Mhm.
fucking will watch over and over again. I kind of want to bang my head into a wall,
It happens.
but you
happens.
know,
Thank
they're like we can make it go a different way. And I'm
Thank
like,
you,
I
Telltale.
I get that appeal.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if they took that, if Netflix seen the popularity of like Until Dawn and stuff. Like that,
Mhm.
and was like, shit, we could kind of do something like that.
And there's
Oh,
other
for
games
sure.
like
I
that
would say like the
too.
first game that like really jumps to mind when I think of like the narrative choices matter kind of story games is like the Telltale series Walking Dead games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did Heavy Rain come out before that?
I think so.
Because that was like the first one that I heard of. But like I was just at that time I was way
Yeah.
younger. I was
Oh, yeah.
way less interested in like
Mhm. When I was a kid, I actually
games like that.
played. I played the game that came out before Heavy Rain that the
there was a
company made.
predecessor.
It came out on like the original Xbox and the PS2. It was called Indigo Prophecy.
I have never
in
heard
like in like the rest of the world, it's called like Fahrenheit, I think.
Oh,
But in like America, it was called Indigo Prophecy.
very interesting.
The game starts with you like committing a murder. You're like possessed by a cult and you commit a murder, and then
Oh
you have
my
to like
God.
cover up the murder.
That's insane.
Child me was like, this is insane.
I'm 8 years old, and this is a lot.
Yes. I am 8, and what is this?
I had access to way too many. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally understand where you're coming from, dude.
But yeah, so Until Dawn is very much kind of a, like, I don't want to necessarily call it like a parody of like horror
Yeah.
horror tropes and stuff, because it is scary, but
That's like cliche.
yes, and it uses them like very cliche,
Super on the nose.
but also it kind of subverts twists and stuff like that. Like you think there's like a psychopath on the mountain with you trying to kill all of you.
Spoiler.
But then it turns out there's something else, and you think there's another dude up there. It's wild. It
Lots of twists and
yeah, it
turns.
subverts your expectations. The characters are pretty fun.
What's the big name that's attached to it?
I might butcher the name this time, but it's
Remy Malek?
well, Rami Malek is in it for sure. But then there's also the girl is Hayden Panettiere,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
who I know her from Heroes.
Oh, wow.
She's
That's
she's the
crazy.
cheerleader from Heroes.
I never watched Heroes. That's cool. Okay.
Heroes is super dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Rami Malek is in it as well. Those are like the two big names, and then I think like the therapist guy is also, his name's like Peter Stormare or something like that.
Gotcha.
Those are like the three big faces that I recognized from Until Dawn.
I want a mod of this game, but it's like Remy Malek in his when he was Freddie Mercury.
Oh my
in
God.
the Bohemian Rhapsody. So he's got the fake teeth and the mustache. In, and
Why
he's just
can't we get along?
dude, there's just a dark hallway, and from the end you hear, "Find me somebody to love." Find
Just faintly.
me.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. In before we get copyright striked.
That's fucking amazing. It's a beautiful picture. In my head.
But yeah, that game is very wild. Like I said, you play as each of the different characters on this mountain. They're coming up to have like a party.
Right.
It's like the 1-year anniversary of Rami Malek's sister's dying.
Yeah, that was weird to me. I was like,
And
dude,
he's
that's
like-
grim.
He's like, they'd really want us to just, come up here and have a party.
Just get fucking sloshed.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they
And
want.
so they all meet up here and they, start partying, but very quickly things get off the rails.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was like their first game, Supermassive.
Right.
And then they made the Dark Picture Anthology series.
Very interesting that they decided to like create an anthology out of it.
Yeah, it was super
I really
cool.
like that angle.
So they started out with the Dark Pictures Man of Medan,
Right.
and that one is about like, how do I say it? They're like these. It's a group of people who are on a boat. They're going out into the middle of the ocean to do some like scavenging,
Right.
and they end up being assaulted by pirates and
Arg.
with guns. And they end
Gun
up on
pirates.
this, yeah. And they end up on this old like World War II era ship that's just like floating.
I love that setting already. That's just like amazing.
And then people start hallucinating, and there's all kinds of visions that you experience and stuff like that as you're dealing with like the pirates and trying to figure out what happened on this boat. Very cool. What's his name?
You played that one.
I played
right?
a
You
little
started
bit
it?
of that one. I played about like 3 hours of it, but then my save file got corrupted,
Gotcha.
which is
It just goes fuck it all at that point.
No.
yeah. I no, literally, I was like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna play their next game instead.
And this came out in 2019.
Yeah,
Man of
the
Medan.
Man of Medan.
Yeah.
Who's the name? Sean Ashmore. He's the like the big name actor that they got for it. You all might know him as Bobby Frost from the X-Men films.
Oh,
He's
shit.
Iceman.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
I recognized him from a show that was on Sci-Fi called Warehouse 13.
Gotcha.
That was just about like people finding like artifacts throughout the world that have power and then containing them in this warehouse.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard about that. That's cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool show. It made me think of kind of like the SCP universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's like the big name that they've attached to this one,
Gotcha.
and he plays one of the people who's like here to scavenge. He's there with his sister, and then yeah, shit gets off the rails.
Yeah. I like that. I like that angle. Each of these are so like different, and that's
Yeah.
what I really enjoy about them. There's 4 games in this anthology. Me and you actually started playing the second game that came out in 2020,
Yeah,
which is Little Hope.
Little Hope.
We'll talk about that one last, but I do want to give just quick overviews of the games, the other 2 installments. Devil and Me is not out yet. right?
Correct. That one comes out later later. Well, it'll be out by the time
This episode's out.
this episode comes out. I think it comes out in
Perfect.
September.
Interesting. Okay. So yeah, there's Devil of Me, and then House of Ash came out in 2021.
Yes.
House of Ash is a pretty fucking bonkers premise, dude.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
This is like the war in Iraq is the setting.
yeah, it's like the early 2000s. And there's like you play as both U.S. soldiers, Iraqi soldiers,
Wow.
and like U.S. CIA operatives. And it's wild. Like basically, the premise of it is essentially the U.S. Army believes they've located weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
Oh, have they?
And so they send in some soldiers to go, take it out. They're like, we have ground penetrating radar. We're detecting
Penetrate that ground.
all this activity, 200 meters below this old like farmer's like shed.
Fuck that farmer.
So they show up and, are like hold this dude at gunpoint while they search his house.
Oh god. It's fucking
And eventually an earthquake happens and like just like the whole like house just like falls out.
wow.
And they end up in this like old Akkadian temple. Like
See, that's fucking cool, man.
yeah,
I saw a couple clips from like the trailer of
And-
what that kind of looked like.
there's creatures down here and they're like vampires, but they're like
They're huge.
scary.
They're fucking. It's like a different. Yeah, no,
they're
it's
not like
Nosferatu's not down there.
yeah. They're like deformed like bat
Yeah.
creatures that like use like echolocation to hear you.
That's got to be really intense for the gameplay. Like that
Yeah.
echolocation, then don't make a sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those creatures are fucking terrifying.
So yeah, basically like all the characters fall into this pit and then they have to like join forces. Like the US soldiers and the Iraqi soldier has to join forces in order to survive this threat.
Right. I find that to be. It's just really interesting.
Yeah,
seeing that
it-
convergence.
Yeah, for sure.
Really cool.
Very, very unique idea, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm super interested in that one.
And it's super cool that because like the first game that they made, Until Dawn, was only single player.
Yeah.
But with the Dark Picture Anthology series, they added multiplayer. You can do like 2 to 5 players if you're like all sitting in the same room and you
That's
just pass
so
the controller.
Crazy, man. I know.
You like assign characters to yourselves, and then whenever they come up, you just pass the controller along. Or you can do online multiplayer, like 2 players.
The multiplayer is what really sold me on. I'm like, so we're basically living a movie out, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
With a homie.
Yeah, and it
it's
very much
crazy.
feels like that. You play as different characters, obviously, who will experience different things, get different cutscenes.
We had a rough session.
Some
last
of us,
night.
yeah. Oh man, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But like your partner will be getting some information while you're getting other bits of information, and both of you aren't getting like the complete story.
It's so
unless you
cool.
like collaborate on it.
Yeah. It's the dynamic between that is just so cool. How you've got to put the story together
Yeah.
in that kind of sense.
Very cool.
We only kick the mics about 13 times a session.
It happens.
It's all right.
It happens. But yeah, so I guess that brings us to their second release then, which would be, or did you wait?
We didn't talk about The Devil in Me.
I'm dumb.
No, you're not. You're
so
beautiful.
yeah, The Devil in Me. Let me pull that one up real quick.
He's very smart.
This was the one that's yet to come out this year.
Okay, so I lied. It doesn't come out in September. It comes out November 18th.
Okay.
Lied to the whole fan base.
But now you can just get more hyped up about it.
Exactly.
This has got like a Saw vibe to it.
Yes,
from the trailer
very
I
much
saw.
so. It's like a like there's a group of documentary filmmakers.
It's very up our alley.
Yeah, they get like a phone call and they're like, "Hey, come to this replica of this serial killer's murder castle."
Sounds great.
He's like he's like renowned as like the first like America's first serial killer.
That's pretty cool.
And so they go to the house. They're like, "Oh, we can't pass up this opportunity." And
Better bring the strap with you, dude.
yeah,
George Washington.
they go in and then they get like
Powdered wig.
I don't know for sure from what happens from there, but I'm assuming they get locked into the building and are subject to a whole host of
What do you think?
traps and
Yeah. What happens when you get trapped in a murder castle?
I want to play a game.
Seriously, yeah. That's the one that I've probably like seen least about, but I'm super excited for that when it comes out. And these games aren't expensive either, for the most part.
Yeah.
Especially the Little Hope and Man of Medan. It's like $15. It
Yeah,
might be on
exactly.
sale, but
yeah, I mean we play on PlayStation consoles,
we do.
and so they're in like the game catalog for that.
Yeah.
At least Little Hope and Man of Medan are,
We're playing Little Hope for fucking free right now,
which is nice, very nice.
Super dope. I think I'm most excited for one that's come out this year already, but it's not part of the anthology.
Yes,
The Quarry.
the Quarry.
Quarry, sorry.
The
yeah.
Quarry.
Super fucking like it looks very typical like slasher
Yeah,
campground
it's
slasher.
literally like you play as like camp counselors.
For real, like it's literally Friday the 13th, but it's not from what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
That's got the guy who played the sheriff from Scream.
dude. Yeah, hold on. I'm
blanking his
trying
name.
to. They've got it's David Arquette. They've
Yeah.
got Ted Raimi in it.
Yes.
I'm blanking on her name, but it's the chick from The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Dude.
That was like the Paris Hilton parody.
That shit's crazy. Oh man, I can't remember her name.
London Tipton is her name.
There it is.
Well, that's her.
That's her name
character's
in Sweet Life.
That's her character's name. Her name is Stand By.
Quick, somebody call Cody Sprouse.
Stand By, portrayed by Brenda Song.
There it
That's her
is.
name.
Yeah, so interesting cast there. I just love I've always loved Friday the 13th. Like Jason was my man growing up. When horror movies were brought up, I was Team Jason. Fuck Freddy Krueger. So that really that's just that classic vibe to me. Getting
Yeah.
away from the big dude with a fucking axe, pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I
don't really know too much about what the plot of the game is.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to go in relatively blind.
Right.
I just know that it's like about these camp counselors who get stuck at their it's like their day that they're supposed to leave the camp,
Right.
but then the car breaks down, so they have to stay. It's like the guy who owns the campgrounds is like, hey, stay in the cabins.
He
tonight.
freaks out. He's like, I told you that you need to get out of here today.
He's like, yeah, you guys have to leave, and they're like, the car's broken, and he's like, then you need to lock yourselves in the cabin
Yeah.
until morning. And he leaves, and then they're like, LOL, we're gonna party.
You already know, bro. Yeah.
and then chaos ensues. I don't know how, but chaos ensues.
Yeah, very excited for that one. Waiting for that one to go on sale.
Yeah.
And we'll swoop that shit up.
Oh yeah.
But right now we are playing 2020's Little Hope,
Yeah.
which was the second release in the anthology series. I have really enjoyed it so far. You gonna
Yeah.
give us a little rundown of the story? It's a
So
pretty complex one thus far.
yeah. Will Poulter stars in this game.
We are
it's
gonna
our
do
it's our
spoilers for
boy.
this one.
It's our boy Will Poulter. He's
We have
back.
we've been getting a lot of Will Poulter love, and we're continuing with that theme. Obviously, he does great. I love seeing him in a fucking video game.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
amazing.
So Little Hope is about this group of like college students who experience a bus crash,
Yes.
and they are kind of like forced into this abandoned town called Little Hope. Because there's this enveloping fog around them that literally won't let them leave.
Very, very Silent Hill.
Like one character starts freaking out and she runs off in a direction and then comes back in like the oncoming
The same
direction.
way, yeah. That reminded me of Curse of Strahd, dude.
Yeah,
How you get
big
into that.
D&D vibes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So yeah, like they're trying to survive this town, which is full of these like cursed spirit. The whole thing is insane.
There's a lot of plot devices going on.
Multiple timelines being exchanged at any one
for
point.
sure.
There's Salem witch trial stuff that is like, well, not necessarily Salem, but witch trial stuff.
Very,
people are getting fucking wrapped up in chains and tossed into the lake, hanged by the neck until dead,
or just falling onto.
Or we push you out of the church tower onto spikes.
You know,
just normal execution things.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much going on in that game, man.
There's that. There's like, I don't know what the second, like the middle timeline is.
Like how
it's not been
like
placed
yet.
yet.
Like the prequel, like when the game like
Yeah.
begins and you play as
The
like
game starts
the first
horrendously.
characters. Yeah, I think the games tend to have a trait of like letting you play a tutorial section, kind of like
Right.
the prologue area, as characters who are like fated to die.
Oh my god, yeah. See, I did not expect it at all.
Because it happens in like every game.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very, 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 very crazy.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out what's going on in this game. I guess we maybe have like, what do you think? We have 10, maybe like 7 hours in it or something.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're in like the third act.
I'm thinking so too. I think it's boiling down to something, but we're still trying to figure out.
We're close. I mean,
what's going on.
we've experienced death.
Yeah, we had a real bad session last night, man.
But yeah, it's the crazy thing about it is that all of the characters throughout the different timelines are like sharing the same faces.
Yeah.
There's characters like the 5 people that you play as have doubles in like the 1600s, like the 1970s or something like that.
70s. Will Poulter looked very 70s in that cutscene.
Yeah.
So that's been how I've been placing it.
And then I think the one character had like another double in like the 1800s. The author who like died in their house.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's very, very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
The characters keep getting grabbed by these like entities that take them back into like 1692,
right,
where they can like witness events that were happening.
You're reliving like these trials,
and you can kind of interfere.
Yeah,
and you interfering is like seen as like witchcraft.
It's crazy, dude. I was like, oh man.
It's very, very neat. A very cool like plot device.
Yeah.
I can just imagine it. I'm like, wait, hold on, somebody's calling me. And you're just like, Burn him at the stake. What the fuck?
Literally, literally.
Oh my god. So while you're like kind of reliving these events too, you're like there's exploration stages where you go and find things.
Mhm, you're finding like bits of lore throughout the world, whether
Right.
it's painting of one of the characters
Yeah.
from 1692,
And it-
or a doll that was owned by one of them.
Yeah, dude. Trying to piece together how to make this thing stop, how to lift the fog.
Yeah, how to escape the town.
Yeah, and how to fight off what's kind of coming at you, which is
Mhm.
it's pretty scary, man. Some fucking scary imagery in this
Yeah,
game.
man, it's spooky for sure.
It's so far what we've discovered is that the past versions of themselves.
Spoilers.
Yeah, more spoilers.
Now we're getting into spoiler territory.
The past versions of themselves are who have been executed, who we know have been executed,
Yeah.
are following their doubles.
Yeah,
Pers-
as
like,
these like
aggressively.
personal like demons
Yeah.
or something.
And they're each one. It's crazy because like however you see them die,
That's how they appear
that's
to you.
and
Like,
and that's how they keep dying.
yeah, the like in the beginning when you're Tanya.
Yeah, you start out in like the 70s kind of like that's
Yeah.
the first part of the game.
And you play as like Will Poulter and his sister if you're playing co-op.
Yeah.
And then there's like demonic elements that are in here. Your little sister is like communing with the devil or something.
Yeah.
You go to like Will Poulter's living in this like abusive household kind of.
Right.
And he goes to like boil some like water or something like that.
Yeah.
And the sister just comes up and sets like a doll on there and just starts burning the house down. And like every member of your family dies, who is like represented by
Yeah.
the same faces that
Right.
you keep seeing throughout the game.
It took me a second to notice that too. Like I knew Will Poulter stood out obviously, but everybody
Yeah.
else I was like, wait.
Mhm. And they all die in like similar ways. Like Tanya, the older sister, she is trying to like climb down a pipe and she ends up getting her scarf caught
That fucked me up so
and she
bad.
hangs. Your older brother, I think, Dennis.
He was in the attic
He's
when
in
the
the
fire
attic
started.
when the fire starts, and he fucking tries to shimmy off the roof, and he falls and gets impaled.
And Will Poulter's just fucking watching all
Yeah,
this,
Will
dude.
Poulter's locked outside the house watching everything happen.
And he's like Megan. He sees his
Yeah,
little sister.
his sister Megan, and he has to like figure out if he's gonna try and help her or Tanya.
Oh my god, dude.
It's wild, man.
And then he just
And then he just runs in.
at the end of it, yeah, he just runs into the fire. He's
And
like, okay.
he's like,
everybody
okay,
else is dead.
my entire family died. I'll die too.
I mean, that's pretty fucked up. All of those things that he just saw in succession. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't blame you, dude.
no, for sure.
And
for
when the
sure.
dude also pulls up and he's like, what did you do?
He sees him with the matchbook.
yeah. And he's like, fuck.
yeah. And then it cuts to these like college students who are doing some kind of like trip.
I think I feel like they're learning. They came here to learn about the witch trials.
I don't know, because they didn't seem like they knew about the town of Little Hope.
Just the professor
Just the
knows
professor.
about like the witch trials. and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. But then like as you're there, you run into like a girl that looks like Megan.
Yeah.
But she's wearing like a school outfit, kind of like a
Right.
sweater vest and everything. She's leading you places. You keep getting grabbed by like
By like the 1600s
by like the
versions.
1692 versions of these characters who
Yeah.
like when they grab you are looking like they have no eyes. Their
Mhm.
faces are like husks.
Yeah.
And then they suck you back in time to the 1600s, and you're just a witness to these events.
Yeah. Right. And so when it comes to being pursued by these things, one character, the character who was hung in the 70s, And she was all we find out she was also hung in the 1600s for being a witch.
Yes.
Her apparition appears as a floating body hung from the neck, and it's just her feet
Dude, it's insane.
dragging across the ground,
It's
chasing
insane.
you. So fucking scary,
It can
dude.
appear in like anywhere. Like you climb to the top of this like church tower, and
Right.
then you look out the window, and it's floating like at your level.
Like, that's one you can't stop.
There's like the brother who gets impaled. His demon is a man who's got like spikes stuck through his arms that he's like using to stab at you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's one character, Angela's demon,
That one was fucking scary.
is
dude.
like, because I think she either like drowns or suffocates, or like suffocates and drowns or something like that.
Yeah.
So hers is like a body that's like chained up, and because her 1692 version was thrown into the river for being a witch.
Yeah, dude.
So her devil is this like chained creature that is like, it can control its chain and whip it out,
Right.
and like grab you and try and kill you.
That motherfucker was crawling in the sewers, dude.
Yeah, it was scary.
Woo. That shit had me fucked up. Yeah, so right now it's like we're at the point where we're following this apparition of the Megan character, and some people are leaning towards, hey, if we see her, we're gonna do whatever we can to stop her.
Yeah,
And then there's some people that are like, she's just a kid. What if we figure out what happened?
exactly. Yeah,
Kind of that's where we're at right now.
we're trying to figure it out. It seems
We had our first death, which fucking
Yeah.
sucked.
we found an old Bible from the 1600s that was used
Oh,
by the
yeah.
Reverend,
Forgot about that, dude.
and so like the Reverend is like the bad guy
Yeah, yeah.
because he's got
Fucking dickhead.
we opened up his Bible and he's just got all this fucking like witchcraft language in it.
Yeah.
All these symbols and Latin and all that. So homie's a warlock and he's just killing people to take
Get the heat off himself.
Exactly, yeah.
Fucking dick.
But yeah, we definitely experienced our first death last night.
It hurt, man. I had to make a choice, and I made the wrong one, perhaps. I'm at the point where I don't know if I chose the other, then the other one would have inevitably died.
Yeah, who knows, man?
But that's the fun of these games. You don't
Definitely.
know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
They made me choose between two people that were being attacked by their demons.
Yes.
I chose to help what's his
Daniel.
name? Daniel, who was in the past was impaled by the gate
Yes.
when he fell. So that gate demon is trying to impale him. I went to save him while the girl Taylor's
she's being attacked by what was her name?
was it
Tabitha?
I think it was Tabitha who was hung.
Yeah.
And now she was being choked.
Yes.
And I was like, man, because I saw you get like previews of future events, and I saw a preview of the Daniel character
Getting impaled.
stabbed pretty much.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta save him. I know he's gonna get stabbed if I don't.
Yep.
And then Taylor's fucking neck got broke, dude. Like
Oh.
immediately. And then it just hurt.
It
just had to
hurts.
set, dude. The deaths look really real. They
Yeah.
they make it. It's very realistic, and it's
then
haunting.
and then the demon like took her body.
Yeah, and the demon disappeared too. So now I'm like, is that one demon that's not going to pursue us anymore?
Perhaps.
But like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just fucked up. I'm excited to play more tonight. See
yeah,
where we
dude,
go.
it's a wild game, man.
I would say check these out
You
for
keep
sure.
getting little like at the completion of like each act.
We didn't talk about
Yeah.
it yet. Yeah.
So like it's the Dark Picture Anthology series, and when you
Yeah.
start these games, it always opens up with you in this like library, and there's a dude who's like, "Oh, hello again. It is I, the curator of all these tales."
He's super cool.
And he's like, "Okay, today we're gonna go through this one," and he pulls out a book on his shelf, and it's the story that you go through,
Mhm.
and he's like, "This one's not finished yet, but the choices you make are gonna complete it."
Yeah.
And then like at the end of each act, he checks in with you and is like, "Oh, okay, no one's died yet. That's pretty impressive, but man, it would be nice if one of you guys were armed. Maybe you should have looked around a little bit more."
Yeah, he like pretty much tells you. He tells you where you fucked up and shit.
And then he offers to give you like hints every now and then. He'll be like, I've been authorized to give you one hint if you should choose to accept it.
And he's like this immortal being, dude. He's like,
he's like, I've met Shakespeare.
yeah, dude, it's great. It's fucking wild, man. Yeah, I thought he was a really cool character to have in the series, just pretty much hosting all of the madness. He's also thick as hell for no reason.
Oh my god, when he
they gave this man cheeks.
That scene when he turned and you just see the
like, damn, what you got going on?
Like, all right, dude, okay. You didn't have to do it, but you did.
The studio did it to us. Yeah, man. So these games have been really fun. I would say check any of them out. Little Hope's the only one I've played, but I'm really interested to continue. I think
Until Dawn is like classic.
Yeah.
Until Dawn's super good. The Dark Pictures though, they're very fun.
Yeah,
they're very spooky.
for sure. I love the online co-op.
Yeah,
it's so fucking cool.
Very, very neat.
Very excited to look into. I mean, House of Ash.
Yeah,
Devil and Me looks really cool, and I'm on like the Quarry looks really fucking cool as well.
Quarry's gonna be super dope.
So with that, that's our little overview on that. It just worked for the podcast really well. It's a fucking story. It's like a movie video game. It's just perfect.
And they're horror, so it's like perfect for the month of October.
Get fucking spooked. Ooh. There were good jump scares in Little Hope.
Oh yeah.
And also, like I said, disturbing imagery.
Most definitely.
Really just very unsettling vibes in the fog, and it's like Silent Hill-esque. I like it a lot.
Oh, definitely. Very psychological.
Right. But next, we're going to move on to our discussion of The Barbarian.
Oh, God.
A movie we both went pretty blind
I didn't even know about it until like last week. Because our friend mentioned it to me. He was like, hey, have you heard of Barbarian? And I was like, no. I was like, what is it? He said, oh, it's this new horror movie that is being made by one of the whitest kids you know.
So fucking cool, dude.
Shout out to writer-director Zac Creggers.
Yeah, for real. I was very surprised to hear this, and I'm sure he was very delightfully surprised to be able to make this, you know? I loved The Whitest Kids You Know. I loved all the skits I've seen from them. And I'm definitely here for this new trend of comics
turning into horror writers.
Just making fucking like A+ horror fucking bangers like out of nowhere.
It really is like insane. Honestly.
So fucking good, man. I mean, this movie just knocked it out of the fucking park. Like, it was the perfect horror movie for me.
Oh, dude, it's no secret that I'm not like super versed in the realm of horror movies.
Yeah.
But I really, really liked Barbarian.
It's hard to describe.
Yeah.
I want to say for sure that it was marketed perfectly. I mean, I only sought out one trailer. I don't know if more exist.
Yeah.
But that's all you should do. You don't want to try to dig into this thing and figure out what it is before going into it.
No. Because
that's half the experience.
And I guess because I ended up rewatching the trailer after I saw the film. They do show Justin Long in the trailer.
They do. Okay.
Just for like a tiny second. You just
gotcha.
you see there's like a scene of him holding a gun.
Yeah, okay. Because I didn't even know he was going to be in it.
I didn't either.
Until we sat down and I saw Justin Long. I was like, bro. What? I looked at Andrew immediately and I was like, why do bad things always happen to Justin Long in horror movies?
This movie is just, well, I was going to say this movie's a prequel for Tusk, but
oh my God.
Yeah, my man just can't catch a break in these horror films.
No, not at all. He's a very I'm just gonna say he plays kind of an asshole in this movie.
He sucks in this movie.
Yeah, no.
But he's like funny.
Yeah,
he like sucks, but you can laugh at him.
Comic relief.
Yes,
necessary comic relief.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Before we get into it a little bit, what's your favorite Whitest Kids You Know skit? You can do if you got a tie, you can hit me with two of them.
Okay. Because the first one I ever saw was The Grapist.
The Grapist? Oh my God.
But I think I personally there's the Corporate Sniper. skit.
See, I hadn't seen that one before, and you showed me that one, and I fucking absolutely
That one is so
loved it.
funny. He's just like, Jenkins, get it down, get down. And he crawls over and he's like, Jenkins, I built this company over 40 years ago with my bare hands. It cost me 3 weddings, 4 kids, and every weekend of my life.
Oh my god.
And I come into work today, and the goddamn sons of bitches over at Goldman Forks put a sniper on the roof.
It's so out of nowhere, dude.
and the intern is just like, what? Sniper? And he's like, sniper, high distance shooter, specializing in kills over great distances, stealth.
God.
He's over on the roof.
Doesn't he just immediately start pulling out a sniper rifle, loading it up?
He has him bring a case over that's got a sniper rifle in it. He puts it together, and then he calls in an unpaid intern.
Oh my god,
to bring him a coffee.
Oh fuck.
And he runs in, gets shot in the head.
Yep.
Immediately.
Where'd it come from?
Yeah, the boss has the other dude to call out where the sniper is.
Yeah.
And then he goes and pops him, proceeds to call the other building.
Yeah.
And be like, "Hey, you sons of bitches, how you doing? I got your fucking sniper." As he's loading a mortar into a mortar launcher.
I forgot that fucking part.
So I really like that one a lot.
That's a really good one.
I also really like Now You Fucked Up.
Yes.
The Abraham Lincoln skit.
That's my favorite because it's the first one. It's the first one I ever saw. And
Mr. President, will you please be quiet?
I just have
what?
And that's him too. That's the director up there.
It's so good.
My favorite part is that he starts shaking his head around and the hat is like strung onto his head. So the hat's moving to the opposite way of his head.
It's
He's like,
so good.
Now you fucked up.
You have fucked up now.
Oh, dude, that one was really good. And I have a very vivid memory of Price is Right. Kind of skit that they did. Have you seen that one?
I don't think so.
Dude, it's so fucking funny, dude. The host is the guy who was the corporate owner in that one skit.
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember his name? I'm blanking on.
I can't. I'm gonna Google it right now because I think he's deceased. At this
He did
point.
pass. Which
Trevor, rest in peace, Trevor Moore.
Absolutely, man. He's like the host in this skit. It's like a Price is Right kind of setup. It's spin the wheel or whatever. And they go, spin that wheel. And they go to do it, dude. And their fucking arms rip off of their torsos. And it looks really shitty and fake. But blood is spurting out. And they're just like, fuck. My arms. How am I going to spin it now?
Oh, my fucking arm.
I'm pretty sure it happens 3 separate times.
That's awesome.
Just fucking funny stuff, dude. So yeah, moving from that kind of stuff. Zac, the director, just kind of wrote this script in his garage. He described it as a late night garage session when this popped into his head.
Yeah, I saw that he said that it was like a writing exercise for him.
Yeah, right.
He was trying to fit in as many red lights, or red flags into a scene as he could.
Yeah, right.
For a character, for a woman to feel uncomfortable in.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard him talk on that a little bit. He has a lot of interesting ideas going on in here. A lot about the duality of women and how they have to feel in certain situations, and of men and how they go about certain situations kind of in a more careless way where they don't have to think about things as hard or as much.
Yeah.
Like when you're checking into an Airbnb and there's a random guy there who also booked it, quotation marks perhaps, what are you going to, if you're a woman in that situation, you're like, what?
No, I'm not going to let you into my house.
For real. So really interesting how he plays with that. And it gets even more as the film progresses.
Yes.
They push that even up further. So the score stood out to me immediately in this movie.
Oh my god!
The first shot and the sound design.
Anytime that when I loved that they would signal that something bad was gonna happen with that that bassy whoop whoop whoop.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, dude. And they were using a lot of sounds that I don't know. It just felt like It's just stuff that you have to craft and engineer. It's the kind of
when
shit
you're
I've
talking
seen
about
Davis
like the
do.
intro, yeah, no, for
You're
real.
just taking some shit and working it
When
around.
you're talking about like the intro, like I'm pretty sure that intro was just like a bunch of different people screaming.
Yeah, no, for sure. And dude, that first shot, it's the movie starts you out right. I mean, it's right at the Airbnb. It's
She
like
pulls
right
up,
there.
it's like pouring rain in the middle of the night.
The camera's just zooming slowly into the car. It's not inside of the car, it's outside of it. And you just hear faint screaming. Several screams. And then it's so fucking cool, dude. Like the camera goes
through the
inside of the
glass,
car.
yeah.
Like through the glass. And then it mutes. And all you hear is the raindrops
rain
on
patter,
the car.
yeah.
I was hooked immediately. I was like, that's how you start a fucking movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
like, where
I
is
was
this gonna go?
very drawn in immediately.
Especially not knowing much about it, you know. And I was just like, immediately gets your brain working. What's going on? What's happening with this fucking guy in the Airbnb? Because
Yeah.
even just from watching the trailer, you know that that's the basis of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography was fucking,
Dude, incredible.
fantastic work.
The way that they would make these long hallways look so menacing.
Yeah. Yes.
With like the shot of like the camera in the dark of the hallway looking out towards the light that's at like the end,
yeah.
just to like have all that black space around it.
Right. This is like a horror, small uncomfortable spaces. Not a good
Yes.
movie for you. Like long ass dark hallways. Oof.
Very spooky, very spooky.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that this film is, it's just so entertaining. I don't think it's trying to be too much
No,
or too heady in any sort of way.
I don't
at
think
all.
so either.
And I kind of enjoyed that. You know, you don't have to think about it too much. You just get your fucking popcorn, sit your ass down, and it's just a great time at the movies.
Oh,
Like,
definitely. Yeah. It was a very
we got to
like,
go with our friends.
yeah, we kind of made
like
like a little last minute impromptu watch party out of it.
yeah.
And
The amount of time, like, after that first act, we all just looked at each other. We all
no,
like,
yeah.
oh my god.
And then the second act begins and it's just so funny.
Yeah, right? I know. Super stark contrast from that. And it's non-conventional storytelling. And that's
Yeah.
what I love about it. And it's not, and I say that like some movies kind of can be, but this really goes out of its way to completely break the structure of how a movie usually works.
Yeah.
In an interview, he was like, I didn't do an outline before this. He said, I was listening to him talk and I loved it because he was like, I'm probably going to piss some people off, like some filmmakers.
I
but
love
like,
that.
I know. I'm like, yeah, dude, do your fucking thing. You don't got to go by any rules.
Yeah. That's not like you have to fill out like all these steps.
Yeah. There's usually like an 8-line treatment you do or whatever. He was like, no, I didn't know how it was going to end. I just fucking started and I went. I was like, that's cool,
I
man.
saw that he said that he started getting like frustrated
Yeah.
during like the writing process because he
Mhm.
felt like it was way too predictable.
Really?
So he like introduced a twist like halfway through the story.
Gotcha.
And I'm not I think I might know what the twist is, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. Once we get into spoilers,
Yeah.
it'll probably be soon here. We'll talk about it.
But yeah, all the cast is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Georgina Campbell as Tess,
So good.
incredible.
Yeah, she really she makes you empathize with her really well
Yes.
in especially in the beginning, in that really uncomfortable stage in Act 1 where you're like,
She's going
I
like
feel
she's
like you're in
locking,
danger in
like,
here.
every
Yeah.
single door she's in.
yeah, yeah.
Bill Skarsgård,
He did so good, dude.
my man Keith.
I really enjoyed him. Yeah.
Yeah, he did super well.
Very mysterious character, and he plays it perfectly.
Yes. And then Justin Long as AJ.
I just love Justin
Like we
Long.
said, he's a character in this movie that you love to hate.
Yes, absolutely. And he plays it, yeah. He plays his role perfectly in this.
He's very charismatic and dumb and
He's a
funny.
fucking idiot, dude. Yeah.
But yeah, all these characters did so well.
Yeah, and it's a pretty limited cast, man. It's not, this was like around $10 million budget.
That's
So
wild.
pretty small concept here. There's not that many locations, so it's
Mm-hmm.
moderately confined, but it works and it's fresh and it keeps you on the edge of your seat
Mm-hmm.
the
I
whole
guess
time.
so far it's grossed like 20 million in US and Canada.
Good. Yeah, they've already doubled.
So
Keep going up. Go see Barbarian,
go
man.
see it.
Super fucking fun time at the theater. And that's probably all we can really talk about without diving into spoilers.
Yeah,
so.
without getting into some spoiler talks.
So we're going to do that now. It's spoiler time.
Spoiler time.
This movie pretty much has fucking 2 first acts and then a third act.
Yeah.
And I just haven't seen that done before. I really like it.
It gave me kind of like Dark Pictures vibes.
Yeah.
In the sense of
Yeah.
like how like the Dark Pictures games, how I was saying like each time it's like the prologue characters die.
Right.
These characters die, man.
Dude.
Or at least you're made to think.
Yes.
You definitely see Bill Skarsgård die.
It's one of the best kills I've seen in a fucking horror movie in a second.
Man.
Just because of how fast it happened, and you were just waiting to see what was coming.
Mm-hmm.
You were just waiting. So the first act.
Yes.
Of
So
this
the
movie,
prologue, if you will.
the prologue. We get this whole dynamic of Tess showing up to this Airbnb.
Keith's there already,
and it's pretty immediately strange. Keith is pretty strange.
He like we
giving off vibes.
said, like the film was originally like he started writing it based on like a nonfiction book that exists about women trusting their intuition.
Yeah.
About subconscious red flags.
Right.
And to like if you feel something like that, get out. Don't stay there.
Right.
And he wanted to do a writing exercise where he just crammed as many of those red flags into a scene as he could. And I'm pretty sure that that's just Keith.
Yeah. Yes. Like everything Keith is doing, basically.
He's kind of not necessarily like combative at the door when they first meet, but he's like, hello?
Right. He does seem confused too at first, but then he invites her in pretty fast.
He's like, oh, why don't you come in? And then he's like, oh, you don't want to be outside.
And when he says that, he kind of steps back into the shadow a little bit. When he says that, you're like, oh, what are you doing?
He's like, I don't know if you saw the other houses out here, but this is not a place you want to be caught out at night.
And that's what I loved about that first scene.
'Cause it's all
the
dark.
only thing you can see is that house with that one porch light lit up.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know what the neighborhood looks like. It looks like it's one house on a fucking empty lot.
She turns around to look, and she can't even see anything.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
And so she goes inside. It turns out that they've double booked this Airbnb. Like she used Airbnb, he used a different app.
Right. He ends up showing her the proof and
yeah,
everything.
they exchange proof. Like he sees her confirmation, she sees his.
Right.
There's a little bit of tension because she asks to see his, like, immediately.
Does he say? What
and
do
he's
you
like,
think I am?
he's like, oh, because you think I'm some dude who just like broke into this place and is staying here.
Yeah. Right.
And then he's like, I'll go get my phone.
Yeah. Right. You're just like, okay. You're like on the edge.
You're like, all right, dude.
What's gonna happen?
Yeah. But he's cool. He's just an awkward dude.
He's a pretty fucking.
He
guy.
tries to make so much small talk with her, and
Mhm.
but like obviously she's uncomfortable.
For sure.
But he's like, oh, can I
Want
make
some tea?
Can I make you any tea? I think I'm gonna make some tea. I'll just make you a cup.
Yeah.
Just in case you want it.
Right. She says no, and he still makes it.
Oh, she takes a shower, and she gets out of the shower, and he's sitting at the table with the bottle of wine.
I love
like
that
the
scene.
complimentary wine bottle. And he literally goes on like a minute and a half, like brain rot.
Yeah, straight up. It's so bad.
Diarrhea of the mouth. He can't stop talking, and he even
It's like he's trying to
recognizes it.
make her feel comfortable.
Yeah, he's like, in
a bad way. It's not connecting.
He's like, they have this wine, and I kind of wanted some wine, but I thought maybe you would want wine, but I thought that.
He You didn't drink your tea.
You didn't drink your tea, and I thought I should wait for you. And then he's like, I wanted you to see me open the bottle of wine.
Yeah. Yeah, right, yeah.
And then she's just like...
You have a drink, fine.
She's just like, I'm good.
Yeah, I guess she's like, immediately she's weirded the fuck out. But then they connect on this one, because she does
he asks her,
documentary stuff,
yeah,
right?
he asks her what she's in town for, and she says that she's here for an interview to become a researcher for this documentary about Detroit. And he's like, oh, really? Who's doing it? And she says the name of the director, and he's like, oh, I recognize that. And she's like, no, you don't.
They start talking about one of the films that the
Yeah.
director's done.
It was like the director's like latest release that came out like the year before or something.
Yeah, right.
And she's like, there's no way you've seen that. And then he like goes into depth about like a specific scene from it, and she's
Right.
like, okay. And then it cuts,
Time to pour up some wine.
and it cuts to her pouring him a glass of wine while she's got one in her hand.
Yeah, right. I love that.
And then he's just like, oh, well, you know who you should interview for this documentary about Detroit? You should interview me, because I'm actually a member of like a local Detroit band.
Yeah, and they start talking about kind of their work. They're starting to get a little closer, and then it comes to the end of the night. They have that weird moment.
Dude,
he's definitely like, am I staying
like,
here with you?
He's like he's like nice guy levels, because he's like,
he gave me Jack Quaid vibes a little bit.
He not forces, but he basically like mansplains his way into like taking her bags in from the rain for her.
Oh my god, yeah.
And you know, all just the general like nice guy things.
Right.
And then, you know, oh yeah, you can have the bed, I'll sleep on the couch. But then like he makes her bed for her.
Right.
And
that was a fun sequence though. He was being fun. Like, I think he was trying to show some humanity.
Oh, definitely.
He's a fun,
yeah. You know. And then she's like, all right, it's time for bed. And he just stands there and is like, oh yeah, no, I've got a couch that needs sleeping on.
It was definitely one of those moments where he was like looking at her, like,
he's like
eyebrows
waiting,
up.
He's like waiting for her to be like, come to bed.
Pretty much, yeah.
But she's just like, leave.
And he's like, I got you. I am about to head out.
So
he goes to
yeah,
the couch.
so then yeah, he goes to the couch, she goes to sleep, doesn't lock the door.
Yeah.
And this is when
You lock the door. You're supposed to lock
this
the
is
door.
when things start to kind of pick up a little bit.
It starts to progress a little bit, yeah. So there's like a slow burn to this movie, but not really, because it's only an hour and 43 minutes long.
Yeah.
It feels slow at some points, but not in a bad way. It's just you're getting to know these people.
Yeah, you're just building up.
And I promise you,
these people exist.
it is worth
for sure
the build-up. And I enjoy the build-up, too. I enjoy that world building. But I know some people, they just want it quick.
I think, especially for this movie, the whole taking the time to build these characters up works so well.
Yes.
Because you get, like, you know...
you need that attachment.
Exactly. You become attached to these characters, and then the first act ends, and you're like, what?
Right.
But yeah, so like in the middle of the night, she wakes up because she hears something.
Yeah, pretty fucking off-putting.
Her door's open. She hears him like
he's having like a night terror. It seems like
he's like on the couch, just like
yeah.
And she goes out, taps him on the shoulder to try to wake him up, and he wakes up and like flips out on her.
He's like, "What are you doing?"
He's like, "Why are you on? Like, what are you doing on top of me?"
Yeah.
And she doesn't even like bring up the fact that he was having night terrors.
She was just like, my door was open.
She's just like, did you open my door? And he's like, no.
Yeah, like he was just trying to sleep.
And then she just is like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to let you go back to sleep.
Yeah. So they have that weird little kind of interaction.
Then
the next day is when it pops off.
Yeah, she goes to her interview, which goes well.
Yeah.
She gets like the Keith left a note for her where he basically is like, things are cool.
Yeah, they have a little thing going here, and you kind of like it by the end of the night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're kind of rooting for him, like, because she's obviously like she's kind of like crushed on him a little bit.
Yeah,
you can
I think
see
she's dealing with like a relationship problem too
as
herself.
well. Yeah,
at the beginning of the movie, she's getting like phone calls from this like Marcus dude,
right?
That she's like Nope.
And they talk about it briefly too.
Yeah, I
Seems
think
like it
that's,
feels good to just have.
I think it's why part of the reason too why she like is looking for an Airbnb. For,
Right.
like, independency kind of.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so she Keith leaves the house for the day. She goes to this interview, comes back home to the Airbnb, and as she's like walking out of her car, this homeless man
Oh yeah. Starts
runs up
running.
on her and is like, "Hey, hey, little girl, little girl!"
Yeah.
And she's like, is terrified.
Obviously, yeah.
Gets the key to the house, gets inside, locks the door. Dude's pounding on the door. He's like, "Hey, little girl, you gotta get out of there. Get out of the house.
Yeah, dude.
Get out of the house right now."
Oh god.
And then she proceeds to
Start packing bags.
she packs some bags or whatever, but then she calls the cops. Cops are like, "We can't send anybody."
Right.
And then she ends up getting locked in the basement.
Yeah. That's when you know it's starting.
The basement door like closes on its own and locks. And so she's stuck, and while she's in the basement looking around, she finds this like rope in the wall.
So bad, dude. At that point, it's like, oh god, like
What
I
would
need
you
to break
do,
a window.
Davis, if you like rented an Airbnb somewhere and then in the basement you found like a rope in the wall that when you pulled opened up like a secret door
Dark tunnel
to like
doorway.
a dark tunnel?
The white in me wants to take a look at it and see what's going on.
God.
The rest of me says we're going.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. It's time
And
to break that window.
she does hit you with a fat nope.
Very Jordan Peele. Yeah, I was like, I love that.
She hits you with the nope, but then she goes in anyways.
Yeah. She fashions a mirror to reflect
To give
some
herself a little
light
bit
in
of
there.
light, yeah.
And what she finds is at the end of this little tunnel is a nice little room, yellowed, gross, disgusting walls. There's one bed that's fucking filthy.
No mattress or no sheets on it.
A bucket and a fucking video camera.
Yikes.
Time to go. She fucking sprints out, and Keith ends up
So, well, that's the thing. She can't get out.
right.
She's trapped in the
basement.
basement. So she
Mhm.
has to wait for Keith to get home. And then they have to like force open the basement window
Mm-hmm.
so that he can get the key and let her out.
This is where we get a little weird with Keith again, because she's like, "We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go."
Yeah,
And he's like,
she's
"Don't."
freaking out, and he's like, "Calm down."
Yeah.
He's like, "You're like, I can't just leave this place because there's a room in the basement with a bedroom. There's a room with a bed, a bucket, and a video camera."
Right.
He's like, "Let me go see it." Also, there's a bloody handprint on the wall,
I forgot about that part. Yeah, dude.
and she doesn't bring that part up to him.
Yeah. No, I think she does.
Oh, does she?
Briefly, but he's just,
He
you
just
know, he's
kinda
in that mode where
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, I have to go see what
And he's
it
like,
is.
and I mean, I kind of can slightly understand it, where it's like, I got to see it to believe it, kind of thing.
Right.
But if this chick is this hysterical about seeing this shit,
Yeah.
you should not go.
It's probably time to get the fuck out. Yeah.
So he goes down, and he doesn't come back up.
Yeah, he's like 30 seconds in and out. Quick adventure.
Yeah.
Real fast.
And so she goes down.
She puts a chair by the door this time because
Yeah,
the
to
door
keep
just
the-
falls by
Mhm.
itself.
So she puts a chair up to prop it open and goes down in. He's not in the bedroom. He's not in the hallway. Turns out the wall at the end of this hallway is actually another door
Yeah, dude.
that opens up to like Resident Evil stairs.
So fucking scary. As soon as she opens that and looks down that stairwell.
Like, okay, so Davis, say you rented an Airbnb and you find out that there's a secret hallway in the basement that connects to a room with a bloody handprint on the wall, a bed with no sheets and like ruined mattress, a bucket and a video camera. And then you learn that the wall at the end of this hallway is actually a door to like a hand-carved tunnel
Secret Pathway Part 2.
with like a staircase that leads down like you can't see the
He
bottom.
would just look down for a second and go, "Hey, yo, what up?"
What? What is that man's name?
What Dude, I found the Batcave, bro.
She's like screaming for Keith the whole time, and you just hear like muffled like, "Ah."
Yeah. Help! Help! She's like, I guess I'm going down
And
this.
so she
fucking
goes
staircase.
down the stairs.
I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't. The director talked a lot about how this is her personality, as in she's one to help people.
To help people.
To go out of her way because she.
And she's true to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm a little fucking bitch.
No.
So I'd call the cops and they'd be like, fuck off.
And they'd
kid."
be like, we have no available units.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So yeah, she goes down these stairs, man, gets to the bottom and finds like cages
Bloody cages.
with like food bowls in them, and it's like a labyrinth of
Yeah.
sorts.
It's just these hollowed out cavern hallways. It's like wood kind of holding up and dirt all on the walls,
Mhm.
and you just can't see shit past the 5 feet of light from the
Exactly.
flashlight in front of you.
And she's just yelling out for Keith.
This one really got me, dude.
And as she's just walking forward, you just see something come out of the darkness, and it's Keith.
But he's crawling.
But he's
dude,
crawling.
fast as fuck.
Yeah. And
Oh my, dude, that
so
scared the
she
shit out
sees
of me.
him and is like, we gotta go. We need to go. And he's like, shh, shh, shh.
Yeah,
There's
he's
some-
just
he's
trying
like,
to hush her.
He's like, there's somebody else down here. She's like, what? He's like, shh, there's somebody else down here. We have to go this way.
But that's deeper
It's like
into
further
the cavern.
into the cavern. And she's like, no, we need to get out of here. And he's like, no, that's the way that I just saw it over there.
And they both start getting louder.
And he grabs her
Yeah.
and is like, no, we have to go this way.
So that scene really, I think he had the audience. I think his intention, which I think he nailed it, was to have the audience thinking, okay, Keith's fucked. He's bringing her further into that bitch, and he's
Yeah.
tricking her right now.
And then
you're so
immediately-
preoccupied with that thought that this happens.
You see this, like, I don't know, 8 foot tall,
Oh God,
deformed woman,
long, stringy,
long,
wet black hair,
unkempt hair. She's completely naked.
long fingers, long fingernails.
Yeah. And she just comes up behind Keith and just grabs his head and just.
Dude, it's got to be about 12 times. She's got 2 hands on his head.
And
It's
is
just
just
smacking.
crushing his head.
And you just hear Tess screaming in the background.
She's just standing there watching it happen.
Yeah,
And then the thing gets up
yeah,
and like screams at her.
right.
Cut to black. End of Act 1.
Cut into Justin Long singing while driving.
A convertible
A
down
convertible.
like the California highway.
Yeah, with the ocean in the background, and he's just like living the
Living his
life.
Until
Yeah, so this is really crazy. This is where it's like it turns into an Act 1, Part 2.
So Justin Long is just chilling out on his car, talking with like his agent.
Yeah, he's an actor
Mm-hmm. And
working on a big pilot.
yeah,
to
they
kind
just
of get going.
they just shot a pilot for this show, and he's talking with his agent, and they bring up the fact that one of the actresses for this pilot has made claims against him.
Yes, very serious claims.
Yes, and because of these claims that have, I think, proof behind them,
Yes,
the company has decided to like fire Justin Long.
yeah,
And there's an investigation being done, and he's being sued,
yep.
and basically he's being canceled.
And they very quickly take you through that process, like he's with his accountant,
Yeah.
and his money.
He's like, hey, you're gonna be out of money in 3 months.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm dropping you as a client.
Yeah, and he's like, cool. So then he finds out, and it's so cool how this connects. He's got
Yes.
property in Detroit,
Yeah, he mentions that like,
which is these Airbnbs.
what about my properties in Detroit? What if I sell those?
You ain't gonna get shit.
Yeah, so he sells his house in California, and he moves out to the Airbnb that he owns, and he pulls
Yes.
up, and Tessa's car is still there.
Yeah, Ooh, I didn't mention this. You know the snake pendant in Tess's car?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking spoilers already, so this is a shout out to the end of the movie. The song he's singing, the lyrics talk about killing a snake.
Really?
Yeah. So he had that kind of foreshadowing in there in the sense when he pushes
Okay.
Tessa off
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the film.
Oh wow.
And he shoots her.
Yes.
You know, so he's like
Yes.
actively.
But yeah,
That's
so
pretty cool.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Oh, also these are really cool too. I was watching Zac interviews with Zac, and these people keep questioning him because you know they got the big brain horrors to compare to. They're like, what did you like place in here purposefully to have some kind of like alternate meaning as a director? He was like, well, shit, man, I didn't do too much, but people just keep finding things
Yeah.
that like coincidentally line up. Like 476 is the address on the house.
Yeah.
That's like the year that like the barbarians took over
Oh,
over
really?
the Roman Empire, some shit like that. Like that's the legit
like when
year.
they sacked Rome.
And he was like, I didn't fucking know that, but it's a thing.
That's so cool.
I'm like, that's so cool. He's like, I don't take credit for it, but I maybe I should have.
Maybe I should have.
that's just so
crazy.
funny. Sorry about that. I had to hit you with
that's
that.
crazy.
Very cool.
But yeah, so Justin Long shows up, and Tessa's car's still there. All their stuff's still there. The door is still propped open to the basement.
Yeah. So it's like a reintroduction to where he's like, now what the fuck's going on with my house? Who's living in my fucking house?
Yeah, he calls the Airbnb and like the company, and they're like, nobody's been there since the last tenants, and there hasn't been a new tenant in 3 weeks.
3 weeks since that first situation
And
happened.
so that's how you get like it gives you your little time skip.
Yeah.
He goes down into the basement, and he sees the mirror setup is still set up,
Yeah.
but the door is closed.
Yes.
But he finds the rope and he opens it up, and he sees this hallway and the room.
Yeah. He's got this wide-eyed look at first.
And yeah, and then it clicks in his head, and he goes, "Oh fuck yeah!" And he Googles, "Can you claim underground space as like square footage when you sell a house?"
And he's like, sometimes?
And he sees that it's
Hell
like
yeah.
sometimes people add it on at like separately. And he was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" Grabs a tape measure and just starts measuring out these hallways.
He goes down into these caverns. He's like measuring the square footage.
like
Every
the
time he does
whole-
it, he's like, hell
The whole
yeah.
scene, there's the scene of him measuring out the creepy bedroom with the bucket, and he walks in and he doesn't even like acknowledge that like
Right.
he's
right.
just like okay, right? And he like sits on the bed and like gets up after him, and he's like, "Oh god."
Yeah.
Fucking bumps into the end of the hallway and realizes that there's the stairs that go down, and he's just like, "Fuck yeah."
Yeah, dude. He looks at him for like 2 minutes. He's like, hell yeah, bro.
Puts the tape measure at the top of the stairs and takes it all the way down.
And dude, the sound design for this is like literally just tape measure going in like this dark, scary ass
He gets
hallway.
to the basement and he's like, "Oh hell yeah, more space!" Starts taping that out, and then he sees the cages and he's like, "What the fuck?" Taping shit out.
Continues going, dude.
And then he finds a room.
He sees the room with the purple light.
There's a purple light coming
Leaking
out
out
of
of
it, and he looks in there, and there's just like blankets on the ground.
Yep.
And a TV playing, a video about like I think it's like a how to breastfeed.
It's a nursing, breastfeeding like nursing instructional video. And the first thing you think, man, this creature, this woman creature's titties were just out.
Like when I say she's naked, I'm talking like she's got like hanging, absolutely just hanging udders.
It's
It's
fucking
gross.
terrifying. And you see this room with a fucking nursing video playing.
Yeah, and it's just like
You're
you just
immediately
hear like
this movie's gonna be more fucked up.
this
than I
can
thought
be
it was gonna
something
be.
that is pleasurable for both parties. And
Oh god.
eventually he hears like the tape measure starts pulling on him,
Yeah.
and then it drops, and he's just like, "Fuck this."
You
And
hear
he turns-
screaming.
He turns and just starts sprinting further into the tunnel, until he like trips and falls through like a grate
Yeah.
into like a cell of sorts, and he falls in, and then he gets grabbed by Tess, the character from the beginning.
So she's
She's still
lived.
alive.
Yeah.
She survived in this pit for 3 weeks.
Yeah, dude.
And she's just like, shh, shh, shh. And then it cuts to another, like, it's like that act is over, and then we get like a flashback
Yeah.
to like the 70s.
That part really fucked me up. I was like, this movie keeps throwing me around.
Yeah, dude. You get like the original owner of the house as he's
Yeah.
like going to the store to buy plastic sheets and diapers and
Yeah.
blah blah blah. The lady at the counter is like, "Do you need any help with anything?" He's like, "I need to find plastic sheets." She takes him over to him, and she's like, "What do you need them for?" He's like, "Like an at-home birth." And she's
Yeah,
like,
dude.
"Okay, well, you're gonna need all these things." Loads them up. He goes to leave the store, but then he waits to leave until he sees a woman leave the store, and proceeds to follow her to her house. Put on a jumpsuit, like a power jumpsuit, like a Power Man jumpsuit.
This was very disturbing. This scene was fucked.
Knocks on her door, is like, "Hey, we're experiencing outages in the area. I'm just coming in to check everything." Looks around her house and everything, and then leaves. Doesn't do anything to her, just leaves. Gets back to his house. His neighbor's like, "Hey, man, everybody in the neighborhood's moving out. This neighborhood's going to shit. It's the 70s. And he's like, "Are you getting out of here?" And this dude who, like, you've just been following like back shots of him the entire time.
Yeah,
Like the
right.
camera is like framed like on his back, like a third person camera. He's just like, "I'm not going anywhere." And he goes into his house and opens up the door to the basement, and you just hear screaming.
Just women screaming. But when he went into that lady's house, he goes into the bathroom and he unlocks her window.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he just goes into her window, he checks that the water's running, turns it off, unlocks it, and then he's like, "We're all good."
Yeah.
Basically, see you later tonight.
Yeah.
It's fucked up, dude.
And then it cuts back to the present day with AJ and Tess.
So this is why the non-linear format is so interesting. It's whipping you around like a fucking roller coaster.
You're like, what the hell is going on?
Right, but I loved it. So yeah, we're
Um,
thrust back into this. This is the bottle scene, dude.
Dude.
This is
So,
where
yeah,
it gets fucking weird.
This creature, this mother,
It is deemed the mother, yeah.
shows up to them and proceeds to like dangle this gross bottle of milk
Oh, fucking Christ, dude.
down.
Her
And
hair's sticking off of
it's,
it.
coming out.
Like,
Yeah, she's holding it down to Justin Long's character.
he's like,
And
fuck
Tess,
that,
he's like,
dude.
I'm not. Tess is like, drink it. She wants you to drink it. And he's like, fuck that.
Dude,
she's
"I'll
like-
die, dude."
She's like, just drink it or she'll kill you. She
yeah.
like, she just wants you to be her baby.
yeah.
And then the mother puts the bottle over to Tess, and Tess drinks it. And then in order to punish Justin Long's character,
Oh,
the
God.
mother grabs him out of the pit and takes him to the room with the nursery
No.
video.
No.
Sits him down and is like, "Mama, mama,"
Dude, it's so bad.
and like forces him onto her teat.
It's fucking
As you just hear this instructional
terrible,
video, like,
dude.
this can be a pleasurable experience for both parties.
It's so fucked up. And then Tess is like, time to bounce.
Yeah, she's like, "I'm getting out." So she climbs out, manages to escape. She grabs the knife that AJ brought,
Yeah.
and proceeds to like break the basement window.
Right. Yep. What like she's in hot pursuit while she's getting out of
The
here.
mother
Like,
is chasing.
you hear footsteps and you hear fucking wailing as she's trying to
'Cause
get
she-
out of the basement.
As she's sneaking out, she accidentally kicks the tape measure.
Yes, dude. Yep.
So she runs up all these stairs. She busts the basement window because Justin Long fucking closed the door on his way down.
Yep. Thank you. He moved the fucking chair.
Yeah. And she's trying to get out of the window, and she gets grabbed from the outside and pulled out by the homeless man.
Thank you,
from the
King.
beginning, who was like chasing her. And he gets her out, and he's like,
fucking told you, you dumb.
literally,
Yeah, dude.
no, literally, he's like, you're safe. He's like, come on, we got to get you out of here. He's like, we're not technically safe yet, but like,
Safe anyway.
you're.
Right.
He was like, you're out of the house, but she comes out at night.
That's the fucked up part, dude.
So
Yeah.
he's like, we got to go, and they like, where like,
she's like, no.
yeah, she's like,
She wants to
"No."
get help.
She wants to
Or
get
she wants
help.
to help him. This is where I think some people, if they want to think too hard about it, are going to like attack the movie.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause she gets out.
She goes back in, grabs her keys,
Yeah.
gets in her car. She's about to like drive away. And then the mother like bursts through the front door.
It's like, it cuts to being sundown. It's nighttime. She's waiting for the mother to come out of there, like in her car.
Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, there's also the whole she calls the cops again.
Yeah, then they're useless. They think she's a crackhead. Pretty much.
she is. So like the dude brings her out, and then she like stumbles to the nearest gas station and uses their telephone to call the police.
Right.
They show up and are immediately like, "Do you have ID?"
That's all it matters.
Yeah,
right.
And she's like, "I've been kidnapped. I've been held against my will for 3 weeks. There's a man who's like, he could potentially die. He's being held prisoner too." And they're like, "Ma'am, do you have
Yeah.
ID?" And she's like, "No, I don't have anything. I've been kidnapped for 3 weeks." And he's like, "So you don't have ID?"
Oh my god, I wanted to hit
Man,
myself.
you know why I'm pulling you over right now? She's like, I fucking called you.
Yeah.
Right.
So they go back to the house with her, but they don't go in.
Because it's locked.
Because
They're
it's
like,
locked.
They're like, you broke a window. They
Yeah,
turn it around
Yeah,
on
they
her.
turn it around and they're like, "The only crime I'm seeing here is you breaking that window. You're lucky that I don't arrest you."
So fucked up, dude. So then she enacts
So
that
yeah, that
plan.
happens. Then she decides to say fuck it, and she breaks another window.
Yeah.
Gets in the house, gets her keys, goes out, waits for the mother to come out, and then just fucking drives into her.
Fucking rails her, dude.
Just
I was like, good on
crushes
you,
her.
man.
And you think that the mother dies. She has like a whole thing where she's just like, "Ma, ma," as like her eyes go like cold.
Yeah.
And then she's in her second stage.
So she
Yeah.
goes.
Second stage boss fight.
Well,
Phase
no,
2
pretty much.
begins.
So Tess at that point, she's like, "All right, this is my chance." She goes back down.
It's pretty fucked up, dude. You got, like,
AJ,
Yeah.
AJ is down there. We haven't even talked about the AJ stuff that happens.
Yeah, dude.
He manages to escape from the mother before she comes out, and he finds something that the homeless man describes as because he says to Tess that there's even worse things than that monster that are down here. And he finds this. He's being chased by the mother. AJ
Yeah.
is, and he gets to this door, and the mother literally like comes up to him, and then backs away like she's afraid.
Yeah, then you're like, why? I was like, I don't know if I'd want to go in there.
Grandmother.
So
Yeah,
he
the
so he
grandma.
goes in, and there's this old fucking like man in
Grandpa.
bed,
Pappy.
and he's like, "Hey man, we're gonna get through this."
He's like kind of deformed looking too, a little bit, isn't he?
I think it's just he's like emaciated at that point
Yeah,
because he's just like bedridden.
right.
But yeah, the dude like AJ talks to him, and I immediately recognized it as this is the dude that was in the 1970s flashback.
Yeah. He was the
And
guy abducting all the women.
AJ finds a TV completely surrounded by tapes that just have like redhead,
Yeah, you remember the video camera? Yeah.
and he plays one of them, and you just hear it.
It's definitely rape.
And it turns out that this man has just been raping, like taking women, raping them, having kids with them, raping those kids, having kids with those, just inbreeding and inbreeding and inbreeding.
And that's how we get this
until
hills
we
have
get
eyes
to
kind of creature.
the mother. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Um.
It's fucked up.
So he's like, yeah. AJ's like, what the fuck, man? And
AJ starts, he's like, the fuck's wrong with you? Like, he sees the video, but AJ is literally about to be a convicted rapist.
exactly.
It like Frank is the reverse mirror image of AJ
Yes.
in himself, and he
And
has to
like
look that
AJ
dead
gets
in
him
the eye.
water, and he keeps motioning. Like he's like, it's okay, man. We're gonna get through this. You know, cops are gonna be here soon. And he like
I
motions.
raid this whole fucking place.
He
Yeah.
motions over to like this end table, and AJ brings him the end table, watches the video, and then turns around and is like, "What the fuck is like wrong with you?"
Right.
And by that point in time, the old man has reached into the end table and pulled out a gun.
Jesus Christ.
And AJ's like, "Whoa, man!
Yeah.
Like we don't have like. Never mind. Did I say that you suck? You don't suck."
Did I say that?
And
yeah,
then
right.
the old man just goes
Oh, shit.
blap and shoots
Caps
himself in the
himself.
head. So AJ takes the gun and is like, okay, this is my chance to escape. And
This is when
this
you're
is
fucked
during
up.
the time that like Tess has driven into the mother and has re-entered the basement looking for AJ.
Yeah. So we've got Tess like running to find him.
So we've got these two people coming into contact with each other, except
yeah.
AJ has a gun.
Uh-huh.
So he fucking shoots her
Right in the gut.
right in the gut, and he runs up to her and is like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought you were her. I'm so sorry. It was an
Yeah.
accident." Gets her out, but when they leave the house, the mother is gone. She's no longer attached to the car.
Yeah, it's like great.
She leads AJ to the homeless man's like shelter.
Because he says briefly where he's
He tells
at.
her where she's at, and he's like, "This is the safest place for you." They
This
go
was my
there.
favorite scene.
He talks to them. He fills them in on the whole like inbreeding thing, and basically is like, "This place is safe. We're safe here."
She's like, how do you know it's safe? And he goes, shit, I've been here for 15 years. And then the fucking wall in the background just
Crumbles
she
as
comes
she just
through the wall.
Oh, my
like Kool-Aid Man style.
What does she do? She rips his arm
Rips
off.
his arm off and then beats him to death with it.
Dude, like, it's so fast.
But like during that conversation, AJ is like, he comes to this realization. He's like, you know, I can't change what I've done in the past, but I can work to fix it in the future.
It's actually a really good like moment for him. I'm like, you're still a piece of garbage.
Like he feels
but
because he's like, we have to do something. I shot Tess.
he's
I
act-
did that
yeah,
to her.
He is trying to save her actively
And-
at this point.
And the dude, like the homeless man, is just like, no, we have to stay here. If you go out, you're gonna die. And literally, as soon as she comes through the wall and kills him, AJ abandons her and
He's sprinting, dude.
sprints as she gets up and like clutches herself to like run away.
Yeah.
They end up like climbing this tower,
It's like a water
like
tower.
a water tower type thing, and they get to the top, and the mother is coming up after them, and AJ's like, I can make it,
It's so bad.
but you have to buy me time. And he grabs Tess by the hair and is like, hey, to like the mother. He's like, save your kid.
Throws her
And
off
he
the
throws her
fucking
off
tower.
the water tower.
Like, that's straight murder.
What?
He straight up. That's on your hands, dude.
Yeah. And
It's not like you just ran away. You threw her off the tower.
and the mother dives down, collects her, like cradles her in her arms and turns over
Yeah.
to like shield her from the fall. She survives it.
I did not expect that.
Yeah,
thought
he
she
walks
was
up to
done.
her, like Justin Long's character walks back down, sees that she's breathing, and is like, "Oh fuck, I'm so sorry. I didn't.
You
I
get it,
didn't-
right? You get
No,
it.
I didn't have a choice, and I didn't. Honestly, I didn't even let go. You slipped away.
Oh my god, he's such
you
a piece
slipped
of
off.
shit.
I'm saving you right now." And
He says, "Come on, I'm gonna save you." He goes to pick her up again. I'm
and
like,
she
"You
like
fucking
rolls
dick."
off, and then the mother gets up and just grabs his head and like Oberyn Martell Game of Thrones his head.
It's worse though, dude. You see the white
Like
eye
the
goop.
pus.
Like popping.
It's like
Mhm.
streaming down his face. Like I have never seen
and then
that.
like the back of his head just cracks like a coconut.
Oh fuck, dude, that had me fucked up.
And then the mother comes back down to Tess and like tries to pick her up, but Tessa's like, ow, like I'm hurt.
It's
I
like
can't.
she's not trying to hurt Tess. She's literally
She sees
wants
Tess
this to be
as
her
like,
child.
yeah, her child. Mm-hmm. And so she's like, go back, mama, go back. And she's like, Tessa's like, no, I can't go back. And like grabs the gun and just puts it like right into the center of her head.
But she's still saying that same
Dude,
thing.
she, like the mother is just like, mama.
She literally does that. And then
it just, as it cuts to black, you just hear the gunshot.
what a fucking movie.
And then Tess gets up and walks away. She survives. That's that.
She deserves to live.
No Marvel end scene.
I was kind of waiting for it.
Well, because the way the credits worked,
I know they did it to us.
I know. Because the way the credits for this movie were, they would do like a block of credits and then a scene and then a block of credits.
I enjoyed that. Yeah.
It was mostly just like her getting up and then walking away from the scene.
Right.
But still just a good ending to show that she survived.
Right. Yeah.
Or did she?
Bum, bum.
Wow.
Listen, when I heard that dude say there's more fucked up things in there besides her, I was expecting a whole nother sub level of the basement.
Kids, yeah.
I'm like, how many inbred kids does he have? There's potential for a second. I'm not going to say if I want it or not.
Yeah.
I am going to say I fucking loved this movie.
Oh, yeah. This movie was dope.
Yeah, no, dude, it's
for
crazy, man.
Sure. It's just insane that this whole crazy ass movie was written by one of the whitest kids you know.
Right. And he's so humble about it. I love it. I love every interview. His vibe is just great. He seems like a really considerate guy.
That's awesome.
It's really cool how those first two acts work because, as you mentioned in the first act, she's working overtime to notice those red flags.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's being a woman in that position. You have to be 100% on your guard, 100% in defense mode.
Absolutely.
And then we switch to act two of this guy who's living carelessly,
like the most carefree life you can.
Absolutely, and pushing himself and onto people.
And even when it comes time for him to like take like, hey, serious things are happening now because of your actions.
Right.
He just goes to Michigan and starts fucking measuring
Partying
the basement.
and, yeah.
Partying.
Dude, and they just give you small snippets of his personality. Like his mom calls him.
Yeah.
And he's not really giving a shit about what she says, but then she's like,
oh,
your
you should
dad...
come to Detroit. Your dad wants to see you.
He's like, he stopped. He said that?
And then she's like,
no.
You know how he is.
Yeah, so it's like they give you a little bit of his personality, why he's like this maybe, but he's really just kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's just really cool to show that duality. And then in the third act is how do these two personas converge?
Yes.
And it's chaos.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Tess is everything good, she's doing everything right, and AJ's fucking everything up.
Yes.
From start to fucking finish.
Literally, man.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen a movie work like this. So it was very exciting, to be in the theater and see it like that for the first time.
Yeah, dude, I was blown away by this film.
I'll totally give it like a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
for
I think
sure.
I'm like 9.5.
I think if like everybody, there's gonna be people who critique it and maybe think too hard about it, but I take what Zac said himself. He said, "This movie is for you to have fun."
Yeah.
He's kind of like I almost don't. He's not even super concerned about like people nitpicking this, nitpicking that. He's like, I want you to go. I want you to have a good fucking time, and I want you to be surprised.
Yeah.
And I think he delivered on every front in that way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, dude, 9 out of 10. Andrew gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
Please watch this movie.
Hit that shit up. Play some of the fucking Supermassive games, man.
Yeah, play Until Dawn. Play the Dark Pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know how you feel about these things, guys. Let us know what you want us to watch, play. You can email us at storyworkspodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on YouTube. Get us some comments there.
Yeah.
Let us know what you guys want to hear. And thanks for stopping by.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, yeah, no, we have...
Plug.
Storyworks, Foresight Studios, and 626's first collaborative movie is fucking damn near out. We
like
have the trailer now.
98% done.
It's like 99.9% done. We have the trailer out now. Please check it out. We have a lot of people that worked really hard on this thing, and we put a lot of ourselves into it too. So I think everybody's gonna really enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
And it's spooky.
Yes, it
It's
fits
spooky
the
month.
theme.
Check that shit out. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the Storyworks podcast. I'm Zach
Alrighty.
Gosen.
I'm Andrew Hall.
We'll see you next time.
Sayonara.